I'm going to describe some fictional history to you, and I want you to imagine in your head what the world that history comes from probably looks like. Tension between world powers have risen so rapidly that the world is now at war. Nowhere is safe. In an attempt to end the war as quickly as possible, the leading nations develop a warhead that, when detonated, either instantly kills all surrounding life or mutates it beyond recognition. As they ready the bomb for use, a group of scientists who study ancient, supposedly magic artifacts discover that magic is real, and while it can be used to commit terrible crimes, it can also be used to stop the war. But it's too late. The war decimates the world and kills off a majority of the population, leaving only those who went into hiding or were terribly mutated. After all is lost, the spark of war is somehow still lit. It seems like the war's gonna last forever. That is, until the war is forced to end when a meteor hits Earth and kills those who are left still fighting the war. There is no society anymore, just survival. Okay, so that world seems horrible, right? No fun, yucky, blah, icky, I don't want that. But what if I told you that was Adventure time!
Clam wrap. Juicy like nectar. My name is Nectar.
I think the reason a lot of people don't give the show a chance is because they view it as if it is a kid's show. I think that if you hear me out after watching this video, you might see it a little bit differently. Or for those of you who won't watch it for that reason, maybe you'll give it a shot. Whoa. Let me make a clarification. I'm not saying that Adventure Time is not safe for children. But what I am saying is labeling it purely as a kid's show is a discredit to what it truly is. It's a show that everyone can learn from and everyone can enjoy. The events that I talked about earlier were an event in the show called the Great Mushroom War. It was called the Great Mushroom War because so many nuclear warheads and mutagenic bombs detonated that mostly what people saw was just mushroom clouds. That must have been a ton of fun to live through that. But in the main events of the show where we follow Finn and Jake, all that happened over 1,000 years ago. The show has a lot of dark history, and most of the characters have some not so fun backstories, baby. I could talk about a lot of the characters' dark pasts and a lot of the show's more serious moments, but I think that would ultimately miss the point of the entire show. Adventure Time shows that no matter how bad things get, they will eventually be okay again. Actually teaches a lot of important life lessons that I feel like everybody should learn. You're in too deep now, buddy. It's too sorry. I got to grow up with the main protagonist, Finn.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell.
I was always 1 year younger than he was at the time that the show was airing. So watching him go through like his natural progression and go through like tragic events and do bad things and still come out a hero, like really inspired me to try to always become better. He did some pretty bad things. He eventually learned from them. And he went from being a 12-year-old who had very clear-cut ideas on good and evil and would kill anything that he deemed evil, to, by the end of the main series, a 17-year-old who understood that there was no such thing as good and evil, and who wouldn't even kill things that had the full intention of killing him.
Oh, gross!
The show had a really good way of showing that no matter what you've done, and no matter what you've been through, you can always become better. You can always work and be the best you that you can be. Even when someone's made a mistake, they can still work to become better. It's not like, oh, you made a mistake, you're evil now, sorry. My favorite example of this in the show is Bonnabelle, aka Princess Bubblegum. At the start of the series, she's around 822 years old. So when she first left her home, she was just a child. She was a little fetus gum thingy. She was all like, whippy yahoo, you know? Like doing it up, all crazy style. She was out in this destroyed world, completely on her own, as a child. And naturally she got lonely, so she did what any lonely person would do. She just kind of like bioengineered her own synthetic life forms as a child. She made herself a family, and when that family started to disobey and do things differently, she basically ended up, lobotomizing them. It was an accident, I swear. After they were basically too stupid to function on their own, so she kind of just automatically took in this role of being the leader, the princess. But over the next 100 years, as she built the Candy Kingdom, she started to make more candy people that were like already as if they had been hit with the dum-dum juice. They were already like reliant on her to be in charge. She also made armies that were so violent and powerful that she could basically remain in power as long as she wanted. But at one point she decided that the army that she had made was too powerful and too good at murder, so she was like, I'm gonna do what any reasonable person would do. She committed genocide for all but one of them. The Rattleball Boys. She was her people's god, and to be fair, she did literally build them like from nothing. So over the next couple hundred years, besides a brief break when she dated Marceline for a little bit, she basically only focused on advancing the Candy Kingdom. But eventually she does end up growing as a person. She made friends, finds love again, and she even clearly shows remorseful and deeply regrets what she'd done. She doesn't want to be seen as a god anymore by the events of the main series. At one point, the Candy people do a vote that makes her not princess anymore. And obviously that's not how monarchies work, but she respects it anyway, and she just kind of lets them figure out on their own what they're doing. She accepts it and moves out onto the house that she had built when she made the first family, and she just waits there till they need help, and then she helps them again. Not because she wanted to be in charge again, but because she cared deeply for all of them and wanted to make sure that they were all going to be okay. She went from a dictator who would kill anybody who got in her way to a normal person who cares for everybody deeply. In the Distant Lands episode Obsidian, it's shown that she's given up being princess entirely so that she could live with her GF Marceline. So it's pretty crazy that she goes from this controlling person that has to know where everyone is at all times and will kill anybody who opposes her, to just being like, let them live their life. This kind of showed me growing up that if she could change from being the person she was to a good person, then anybody can. She also gives one of the best bars of all time, a bar to live by.
People get built different. We don't need to figure it out, we just need to respect it.
Ooh, bars!
Oh! Somebody! Oh! He needs some milk!
Barthol. Just sit with that. Just sit with it. If you really soak that in, I feel like if everybody really soaked that in, the world would just be a better place. Not just kids need to learn that. Everybody should think about that. Death. Adventure Time is good at making you okay with dying.
No, all right. I know that sounds bad.
I don't mean that in the way of it's I don't care if I die. I mean, the show has a really beautiful way of showing life in time. There are episodes that take place 1,000 years after Finn and Jake have died. And then, like I said earlier, there are episodes that take place 1,000 years before Finn and Jake are born. I think it shows that no matter what happens, and no matter how bad things get, eventually, things will be different, but they're still going to be okay again. The good times in too, but eventually there's going to be more. In the finale, there's a song that perfectly summarizes what I'm talking about. It's called Time Adventure, and it summarizes all of time and all of life in 4 words. They say, will happen, happening, happen. That's it right there, folks. That's everything ever. At the beginning of it all, your life will happen. And then it's happening, and just as quick it happened. But then it starts again. Things will happen, happening, happened, and that never stops. Life is a consistent cycle of those 4 words. Will happen, happening, happened, and will happen again. I think that that's a really beautiful way of looking at life. If you haven't watched Adventure Time, I highly recommend you go watch it. It's my favorite show of all time. It's worth the watch. If you like this video, please consider liking this video. And let me know in the comments if you think I should make more or what your thoughts are on Adventure Time. Yippee wahoo. I'd love to make more videos about Adventure Time and just things that I like in general, so let me know if this is working for you, or if not, say in the comments, hey, don't actually comment that. I can't tell you what to do. If you send this video to everyone you've ever known, then I'll go ahead and send you a free thumbs up emoji. But it has to be everyone.